Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming to today's Play Attention 6 webinar. My name is Gwen Sorley, and I will be your host today. I'm glad to see we have a lot of people here today. Some of you are current clients, and some of you are individuals still looking into the program. So I appreciate you taking out the time to see a little bit more about Play Attention 6 and learn a little bit more about the new features. Now, just so you do know, if you are still looking into Play Attention and you haven't actually started your Play Attention program yet, if you want more information on the educational foundation and how Play Attention works, then the Play Attention webinar you would like to watch is one of our informational speed webinars. We have those available on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, alternating Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So next week's webinar is on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And that's if you want general information. Today, we're not going to be talking too much about the educational background. We are just showing the new features of Play Attention 6. So again, if you want more of the educational foundation, then this is not the webinar for you. This is just going to introduce you to some of the new features that we have available in Play Attention 6. Now, as we proceed through, if you do have questions, please feel free to type your questions in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen where you see that Q&A box. Okay, just type your questions in and I'll address your questions as we proceed through. We are recording this event, so at the end of the webinar, you will receive an email with a link to this recording. So you'll be able to share this with other family members or other staff members as well. All right. Now, if you do lose connection during the webinar, if you drop your internet, no problem. Simply log back in when your internet restores and you should be able to resume the webinar. Again, my name is Gwen Sorley and I will be taking you through the program. We had an interesting question yesterday at the webinar, and they asked how many versions of Play Attention we had gone through. And if you've heard me speak before, you know I started with the original version, Play Attention 2.0, back in 1996. So I've been using Play Attention over the last 20 years, and it has evolved into a fantastic program, and we're continually adding and making new features to make certain that we provide our clients with the best attention training tool available. All right, so first I'm just going to go through some of the new features we have available within Play Attention 6, and then we will do a short demonstration so that you'll be able to see the interface and see some of the new features. We have a calendar that allows you to schedule your student sessions, and you can either let Sheer Genius, remember this is our Sheer Genius character here, you can let Sheer Genius select your games for the session, or you can create a custom session. If you select auto session, which we really do encourage our clients to do, to select an auto session, that means when your student logs in to today's session, Sheer Genius is going to select the games most appropriate for that particular student for that particular session based on that student's previous performance. So you can just have it auto select, or you can customize the session. Let's say you feel like they need a little bit more work in the area of attention stamina, and you want to make certain that that's one of the activities in today's session. You can go ahead and customize that session to make certain that that particular game is scheduled for today. You can easily customize the student's Play Attention program, selecting the games that each student has access to, as well as the number of games they'll play per session. And I'm going to show you that because remember, when you're using Play Attention, you may do a 30-minute session or you may do a 15-minute session. If you're going to do a 15-minute session, you might only want to do about 3 different activities. If you do a 30-minute session, you might do about 5 different activities. And you know that every student has different strengths and weaknesses. So there are different games you would like to select for each student. So you'll be able to go in and say, I want this student, when we're doing auto sessions, to have 3 games selected for them. And these are the games I want to choose from. So you're able to customize each student that way. Sheer Genius selects target behaviors based on that person's individual performance. So remember, you will have that wet erase board with about 18 different really typical self-distracting behaviors. So if you're working on behavior shaping, that then Sheer Genius is going to take those totals that you input after each game and is going to select target behaviors. Those are the behaviors we observe most often. And those are the behaviors that will show up at the end of each game. So you don't have to scroll through all 18 behaviors, because most of our students have anywhere between 2 and 5 behaviors that we're working on. And so those targeted behaviors are the ones that will show up immediately after each game. Now, you always have the option to look at all of the behaviors, but this just makes it easier to manage. We also have an improved reward system. You can actually set up your rewards, designate who receives these rewards. You're allowed to give certain points as rewards themselves. The enhanced screen allows you to view important stats very easily, and I'm going to show you those as well. You can allow your student to select which games they would like to play and in which order, or you can select ordered session. If you do an ordered session, that means you are designating which game they play first, second, third, fourth, and last. You can designate that, or you can allow your student to make that choice. We have a medal icon now that tells you if you're in the beginner, intermediate, or advanced skill options. So it's very easy just to look at your student's profile and see which level they're on in each activity. Our new starring system also allows you to know when you're moving up to the next level. You know, there is a beginner, intermediate, and advanced skill option of each activity, of each cognitive skill. And there are certain benchmarks the student needs to reach before moving up to intermediate and then to advanced. And those benchmarks vary depending on which activity they are working on. So Sheer Genius is going to keep track of those benchmarks. And if the student reaches one of those benchmarks, then they'll earn a star. And once they earn 5 consecutive stars, they're automatically moved up to the next level. So that starring system allows your student to easily see his performance over time and see how close he is getting to that advancement criteria. Sheer Genius also tracks your student progress and moves you up. We talked about that. There are fun congratulation videos after each activity. If you're moved up to the next level, then they'll receive a congratulations video letting them know that they've graduated that particular level. Our enhanced reporting system allows you to graph over time. You can look at individual games and behaviors, and you can even correlate different games and behaviors. And I'm going to show you that in a little bit. It gives you a lot more information on your student progress. There are themes for children, adults, and teenagers. When you set up your student profile, you can designate if this is a child, a teenager, and an adult. And what that does is it changes the layout of the particular screen. So if you're a child, then you're going to receive child avatars and lots more colors and bigger fonts and rounded edges. If you're an adult, you're going to have adult avatars. You're going to have less colors and straighter lines. So it does just give a different feel to each activity. Our session rating scale allows you to quickly view the targeted behaviors. As I mentioned earlier, instead of always having to scan through all 18 behaviors, the targeted behaviors are going to come up first. You can assign specific coaches to specific students or students to coaches so that when a coach logs in, he can look at his particular students that are assigned to him, or he can look at all of the students that are enrolled in that program. This is helpful for your management if you are in a larger center or in a school district where you have lots of students and lots of coaches. This allows that coach just to manage his particular assigned students, but they do have the ability to see the other students as well. It's just a great management feature, especially when you get a lot of students and coaches enrolled in your program. There's an auto backup and restore from the cloud. So this means that your data is constantly stored on the cloud. So if your computer crashes, don't worry. There will always be a backup of your data. As long as you are online when you're doing your session data is constantly updated. So you don't have any fears about losing student data. We have lots of different languages now for Play Attention, and you're able to auto select those. So when you go in and you set up your system, you can select from a variety of languages. So you can have English, Spanish, French, Chinese, Ukrainian, Russian. We also now have Polish almost completed, and we will have Italian shortly. The auto updater allows us to deliver any updates very quickly. So when you log into Play Attention, if there's a new update that may have added a new feature, or it may have streamlined a certain feature that's already in the program, you'll see a little pop-up that says version 6.2.3 now available. And you can just go to your update, select auto update, and it will go ahead and send the update to your computer. All right, let's go ahead and look at Play Attention 6 itself. Now, again, if you do have questions, please feel free to ask them. I'm not going to be able to see your questions immediately while I have the demonstration up because I'm going to be doing some screen sharing, but feel free to type your questions in and I'll address them once I'm done with the screen sharing. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. Just one moment here. So my picture is going to disappear and you're going to be able to see the actual Play Attention program here shortly. Okay, you should now see on your screen that we're looking at my coaches and my students. I'm logged in as a coach. Right now, you can see my login is Janelle Smith. This is my coach login. And you see that I have 3 students in this program, and I have 2 coaches enrolled as well. Here are all my students that I have currently. Let's look at Noah. Noah, you'll see there's an 11 here next to his avatar picture. That 11 means that Noah has earned 11 points, and he can use those points later on to purchase rewards that have been set up for him. So right now, Noah has 11 points. Here are those targeted behaviors we talked about. These are his top 5 or 6 behaviors that he exhibits most often. If we click on him, you'll see it brings us to more information. Here's his main information. It gives us the total amount of time he's already been working in Play Attention. So he's been working on Play Attention for 25 hours and 15 minutes. This is really handy to see because when you log in, you can quickly see how much time has accumulated. Remember, for permanency, we're typically working towards a full 40 hours of training. So already Noah is more than halfway to his graduation period. Down below, you'll see that we have all of his sessions listed over time. So it gives us the date and time how many points he earned that particular session, and whether or not there was a behavioral goal that we were working on during that session. You see here on March 14th, he earned 3 points and he fidgeted 0 times. That was our main behavior goal. I want to see more information about that session, so I can go ahead and click review session. And you see that it comes up with a screen that shows me exactly what he did during that session. You see here, I also have some pop-ups that allow me to really learn the program. I can always click off on those. And once I click, I'm not going to see them again unless I request to see them again. You'll see that I was working on fidgeting and I reached my behavioral goal. So I got a green check mark. Wherever you see a green check mark, that means that I have earned my goal that day. I achieved my goal. This particular session was only 17 minutes long. I played 5 games. And here are the particular games that were played: attention stamina. And here is that medal that we were talking about. So really quickly and easily with the medals, I can see the skill option for each particular activity. So this is silver. So that means attention stamina intermediate. This is a bronze. So visual tracking, he's still in the beginner skill option. And down here on Academic Bridge, that's what our gold icon looks like, the advanced version. Now, you see that I did earn 2 points here because I played for at least 1 minute and 58 seconds. So that was my goal, my game goal, and I got a check mark because I was able to complete that. My goal for Academic Bridge was to maintain 68% attention or higher, and I did achieve that as well. If I didn't receive a check mark, it means I didn't reach my goal for that day. So in short-term memory, my goal for that day was to play for at least 3 minutes and 34 seconds. I didn't reach it, so you'll see that I have that check mark is shaded out. Now, who writes these goals for you? Sheer Genius writes those goals for you. So that's another way that Sheer Genius guides you through this process and customizes each system, each program for each individual student. So based on this student's last performance, this is the goal that Sheer Genius set for him in short-term memory. Now, when you see the blue underline, that means this is the game that is being graphed below. And you see all of the particular game data over time. So here's his attention over time. And you see, as I scroll across, not only am I seeing the percent of attention, but I'm also seeing the date that he played. So on July 18th, 2016, he completed attention stamina with 71% attention. Okay. Very easy to see. Here's his duration, the number of bonuses he received. Did he complete the game? And then down here, you get into some more information. If I want to correlate some data, I can actually click on a second game. And then you'll see correlation data between attention stamina and visual tracking. So now attention stamina is highlighted in blue and visual tracking is highlighted in orange. If I go down here below, you'll see that it will tell me my correlation data. So if you look on June 7th, 2016, his percent attention in attention stamina was 61%. His percent attention in visual tracking was 53%. This is sometimes really interesting to see strengths and weaknesses. How does his attention in attention stamina compare to his attention in short-term memory? If he really struggles in short-term memory, you may see a significant difference. So this is really interesting to sometimes come here and do actual correlation data. Down here, we can look at his behavior progress over time or per game. You can see that it's defaulting to fidgeting because fidgeting was his behavior objective this day. And over time, you can see all of his data over time. So on June 8th, 2016, he fidgeted 2 times. But look here, on January 11th, 28 times. So you'll wonder what happened there. We can also break it down per game, how many times he fidgeted in short-term memory or academic bridge, auditory processing. So it's very interesting to see if certain behaviors appear more prominently in one game compared to another. And then also here, we have the journal article from last time he played. What I've learned, the octopi really frustrates me and disrupts the game. So that task switching is really difficult for. What I'm proud of, I'm proud I made it through. And then what I need to improve, this is where Sheer Genius auto generates all of the mini goals for the next session. Okay. All right, now you're also able to email your circle of success here. If you email the circle of success, that means everyone you've input for that student, parents, teachers, mentors, grandparents, if you've put their information in here, it will email them an update on Noah's progress. You can also export all of this information to a PDF and attach it to that email. Or if you are a professional and you're trying to disaggregate the data a little bit more, you can export it into a CSV file and then import it into any Excel spreadsheet or any other data tracking that you are using for that individual. So that's everything you see when you just click on review sessions. You see all of that data. Also, you see quickly here when the student began a new level. If I click on that, it tells me, oh, that's the day he moved up to attention stamina silver. So it gives us a lot of information really quickly. If I need to edit the student, I can edit his information by simply clicking on that edit button. I can change the avatar or his profile here. I can update his password. Remember when we talked about creating Sheer Genius auto sessions? This is where you would select auto sessions so that whenever Noah logs in, he'll always receive a Sheer Genius auto session. Here are the targeted behaviors that Sheer Genius selected. This is where I would add some more people to the circle of success. And down here, this is really interesting. This is where we select those games for Sheer Genius. So right now we have 5 games per session, and these are the games we've selected for Noah. We want, whenever he logs in, we want 5 games selected, and we want it to be one of these highlighted activities. Now, if we get a little bit further into the program and we decide he also needs auditory processing, social skills, and spatial memory, we simply select those. And now when he logs in, there will always be 5 games selected from one of these highlighted games. And we've added 3 more, okay? Let's say that I've decided he should be on intermediate instead of beginner. We do not encourage you to change this. We do encourage you to wait until your student actually graduates. That means hitting all of these benchmarks before you move him up. He'll be moved up automatically. But if for some reason you really feel like you would like to move him up manually, you do have that option. So you can select a new level for your student manually. But again, that's an option for you. We do recommend that you wait for Sheer Genius to tell you when it's appropriate for that person to move up. All right, I'm just going to minimize this for a moment. Okay, Michelle asks, how do you know that he was fidgeting? Michelle, that's one of the jobs of the coach. The coach has a wet erase board with him or her. So let's say you are your child's coach. You would have a wet erase board that has 18 really typical self-distracting behaviors. Now, play attention cannot watch the student. We can only give them feedback on how that behavior is affecting their attention. So the job of the coach is to make a little tally mark next to each behavior that is exhibited during the activity. So every time Noah fidgets, his coach just makes a little tally mark. And then at the end of the game, you'll see that checklist come up on your screen. And you as coach are going to input the number of times the student exhibited those behaviors during the game. And then that information is used to set targeted behaviors and also the overall behavior objective for that session. We're looking at the most prominent behaviors. Now you're going to use this information because remember, if Noah starts to fidget, if he's working on attention stamina, let's say immediately the character is going to start to float up because he's no longer as attentive. And then you're going to use that information to help him learn how to control that. First, you're going to work on being able to make the connections. So what happened when you started to fidget? Well, the character started to float up. So when you do that, and what does that mean? It means I'm not paying attention. So when you do that in the classroom, what does that mean? So you're guiding them through that process and then setting mini goals based on that. Okay, so really good question, Michelle, but that's one of the jobs of the coach if you're working on behaviors is to input that behavior data. And your support advisor is going to teach you how to do that. It's a really critical part of the program and very, very effective. All right, so now we've looked at the users. I'm going to say, yes, we're going to end that without looking further. And I'm going to show you remember, I'm still logged in as coach. We're going to look at our dashboard. The dashboard is where we can see all of the sessions that are upcoming or past. So if we look at yesterday's session, we see that Tony and Kim both had sessions scheduled for them. If I click on Tony's sessions, it will show us which activities he was playing. He was playing attention stamina, visual tracking, short-term memory, discriminatory processing, and the academic bridge. Now I can click review session if I want to see more information there. And I can also see right away what his behavior objective was for the day. If you look at short-term memory, do you notice that he has 2 stars here? This is that starring system that we were talking about. So right now he is in bronze. That means the beginner skill option. And so far he's earned 2 stars towards graduation. He has 3 more stars to go before he gets moved up to intermediate. And remember, he has to reach those stars consecutively. So that's where we can review a session. Let's say we want to create a session for today. So we can click on create a new session. We can select our student, we'll say Tony, and the date, the time that he's going to play. And then we can just save it as an auto session. And remember, Sheer Genius is going to create and select the games for us if we do that. Or if there are particular games I want him to play that day, I can create a custom session. Now, creating a custom session is very easy. We want 5 different games. I'm going to click here. So far, this is the auto session that would appear for him. If I don't agree with that auto session, I can select my own games by simply clicking select games, and I can select different games for him by simply highlighting them. If I want to take one of the games away that have been selected, I can. So I'm going to change this session completely. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to remove it. I'm going to remove this also. So these are the 5 games I want him to play. And I click on apply. And then you see it's changed our list here. And that's my custom session for May 3rd at 1:30 p.m. Just as easy as that. Going to go down here and save that session. Oh, the start time's in the past. Let's see. There we go. And you see now Tony's custom session is there. Again, I can click on it to see if I changed my mind, I can edit the session before it starts. And now I have Tony scheduled. Now you can schedule your sessions, or again, if there's no scheduled session, your students can still log in and do an auto session. Let's look at rewards. You know, the reward system is a really important part of Play Attention. Sheer Genius is going to keep track of all of the points that your student has earned over time. Here's your users. Remember, Noah had 11 points, Kim hasn't had any yet, and Tony has 9 points. When they're ready, they can go ahead and purchase a reward. You see that so far we have staying up 30 minutes late on a Saturday night. That costs 15 points. And you see I've made that available only for Noah. If I want more students to have access to it, I can select the other students as well. Or, oh, small ice cream, that's supposed to say cone, and your choice of ice cream cone. I made this one available for all the students. Let's go ahead and edit that and change it. And you can simply edit it. You can change the point value if you'd like to. You can make it available for just a couple of students, or you can make it available for all students, and then go ahead and save your changes. Now we have a small ice cream cone. Good. All right. Now, here are the games. These are the games this particular Play Attention system has on it. Of course, you have the core games, and then there's some add-on games in this system. This is an area where the coach can come in and easily learn about the different games and practice the games himself. And here's our report system. Now, this is really what we looked at before. If we want to look at a particular student, we can view data for all the sessions, or we can select a particular date and just look at specific dates. But we want to see all of his data and show that report. So we saw a screen very similar to this. Remember the behavior progress that we could look at per game or over time. Right now, we're just looking at nervous habits. If we wanted to do comparison data, we could also add in fidgeting and see how his nervous habits compare to his fidgeting. Again, per game or totals over time. It's really interesting how these behaviors really do correlate. You see there are increases at similar times, and there are decreases in similar times. Also, here's your game data again. You're able to graph that. You can do a correlation of attention stamina or attention and duration within attention stamina, or you can look at all the games over time. So a lot of data, again, is stored and graphed for you. And very easily, you can request a progress review. This is used if you want your support advisor to receive access to your data so that he or she can review your data with you, talk to you about progress, and help you set objectives. You can email your circle of success and again, export. So that is everything pretty much that a coach can now do within Play Attention 6. So you see, we really streamlined it, but added a lot of features. Oh, I wanted to show you one more here. Let's say we go into Noah, and Noah did a great job today. He earned 3 points by reaching his goals, but let's say, you know, I think he did exceptionally well at school today because I got that note home from his teacher that said how well he did during reading time. I'm going to give him a few more points. I can go ahead and actually gift him some points and go ahead and give him points. So I gave him 10 more points. So now he has 21 points. When he logs in, he's going to be excited about that. Or if I want to go ahead and give him a reward instead of making him earn his points and purchase it, because let's say, again, he did something really special that I want to reward, I can click on Give a Reward, select the reward I want to give to him, and simply gift it to him. Now notice he didn't have to pay for it. He didn't get any of his points taken away. But when he logs into his session today, he's going to see that reward has been gifted to him. All right, I'm going to log out as coach, and I'm going to log in as student. Now you see I've logged in. Now, no, it doesn't have a session scheduled right now. So I can either do custom and go back in as coach and set up a custom session, or I can go ahead and do the auto session. Or I can just say, always give him an auto session. I can select the coach for today, and Janelle's going to be my coach today. And I click create, and that will log me right into the session. Now you see here, it tells me this is a review screen, but it also tells me the games I'm going to play today. I'm going to play Attention Stamina Silver, Time on Task, Short-Term Memory, and Discriminatory Processing Bronze, the beginner level. When you click on the activity, it will actually show here your performance the last time and over time. And the goal was to complete with less than 3 impulsive strikes, and I did not reach that last time. So this is my review screen. See if there's another game. I'm going to do Academic Bridge also today. It shows me how my behavior performance was last session, and then it gives me my journal. So this is a great way. You know, every good lesson starts with review. So this is just a way to review the last session together before you start today's session. So I'm going to go ahead and click on games, and here's my game list. Now, I don't have any locks on these games, so it means it's not an ordered session. I can select whichever game I'd like to play, and I'm going to select Attention Stamina for today. Now you see it gives me the information that I didn't achieve my goal last time, so try to achieve it today. So today's game goal is to complete this activity with less than 3 impulsive strikes. If Noah's able to do that, then he's going to earn his point, and then he can go ahead and click play. When he gets done playing that activity, then you're going to see that behavior shaping chart pop up. And you know, I don't have any I don't have any hardware set up right now, but I know Michelle was interested in seeing the actual behavior shaping chart. Let me see if I can pull that up for her. Okay. Looks like it stopped my screen sharing. So let me go back to my screen sharing because I do want Michelle to be able to see this and everyone else who's interested in the behavior shaping component. And while I'm doing this, so Michelle says, so adults need to sit and watch him every time he does this. If you're working with a younger student, Michelle, or someone who needs a lot of behavior shaping, then yes, we do recommend that an adult works with him. If you're working with an older individual, an older child, who doesn't need behavior shaping and doesn't need the supervision, then no, they can do it independently. It really does just depend on the individual. And we'll talk to you about that to see if it's necessary for you to be with that individual. This is what the behavior shaping looks like. So you see after the game ends, you have the behavior shaping and engages in nervous habits, let's say twice. Did he fidget? And fidgeting is highlighted in orange, so that's our behavior objective. Yes, he fidgeted 5 times and easily frustrated 5 also. And now these are my targeted behaviors. So those are the only ones that appear. If I need to see all of the behaviors, I can see all of them, but you see it gets quite long. So I'm just gonna look at my targeted behaviors right now. Then I click submit. And it gives me my little congratulations video. and I go back to my current results, and it would give me all of my game data for this particular game. So a lot of information. So you start with your review, you play your game, you do the behavior shaping program if that's necessary. You may have turned it off if you're not using behavior shaping. And then after that, you actually see all of that particular game data. You can go right back to your games menu. You see there's a check mark here. That means attention stamina is done, and you can select the next game that you'd like to play in the process. Let's say that we went through all of the different games. We can then say, okay, let's see what your rewards are today. And you see under my gifts, there's my ice cream cone, and I'm going to redeem that. When I redeem it, I can print the certificate or just redeem it. Now I'm going to go ahead and log out. It says I didn't reach my behavior goal because I think my behaviors were too many behaviors, too many fidgeting during that first game. The distraction level, this is the environment in which we're working. And today my environment was pretty quiet. So I'm going to say it was low distraction level. Then you allow your student or your child time for reflection. Because remember how we mentioned that each session, each lesson begins with review, and every good lesson ends with reflection, time for reflection. So you want to encourage your student to type in what he's learned today, what he's proud of, and then Sheer Genius will go ahead and input what needs to improve next time. And these are all those mini goals that Sheer Genius sets for your student based on previous performance. I'm going to go ahead and close the session and log out, and then we're done. So I hope that gave a good overview of the program and allowed you to see the different options you have, the different features. We're really excited about the new features that are available in our latest version of 6.0. Now, what's coming very soon is an enhanced iLab version. So all of the professionals who are here today, we also have Play Attention iLab that's now available for version 6. This initial version is for one network only. That means that your lab is just on one network. So this would be if you're working in your office and you have a lab of, let's say, 6 to 10 different computers, and all of your students are coming in at the same time. So you're working with small groups. iLab will help you easily manage small groups as one coach. So that version has now been released. So if you're interested in upgrading your current professional system to iLab, just let us know that you would like to do that, and we'll take you through that process and talk to you about how to set up your network so that all the computers will communicate, so your students can come in, they can sit down at any computer, and all of their live data will come into you streaming. To communicate with your students, you'll be able to send them a text chat, but in our next version, our next release, you'll also be able to do distance training. So that means not only will you work with students in your lab, physically in your lab, but if you have a student that is 2,000 miles away, then they can log in and you can work with them via the internet as well. And that's going to be released very soon. So if you want any more information on iLab, if you're one of my professionals here today, then just let us know and we'll help you with that. Michelle says, if you click in 4 minutes to play and the child didn't want to, can they quit? If you click in 4 minutes to play and the child didn't want to, can they quit? I'm not sure what you mean. Can you clarify that, Michelle? They wanted to play for 4 minutes, like that was the goal. I think you're saying if the goal was to play for at least 4 minutes, can the student actually log out ahead of time? Yes, they can, because we want to make certain that we're moving them up gradually, right? So sometimes people have a bad day, and if they're getting a little fatigued or they need to take a break, you can always escape a little bit early. But when you start those mini goals, you're a little bit further into the program. So we do hope that they don't escape the game too early. So yes, they have that ability, but no, we don't encourage it unless they absolutely have to stop early. Good question. All right. Thanks everyone for attending today. I hope that gave you a good overview of the features in Play Attention 6. If you have additional questions, please feel free to contact us directly. If you are a current Play Attention client and you're working on a version of Play Attention 5 and would like to upgrade, simply call your 800 number or call your support advisor and we'll assist you in getting upgraded. You can also do the upgrade online and just go to the e-store you have access to in order to purchase your upgrade. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us, and we look forward to assisting you in Play Attention 6 very soon. Take care, everyone.